I'm alive, I do or die. I'm alive, do or die. I'm alive.
What is happening, muchachos? Welcome back to the Sean Atwood channel. I'm Ron Swanson. Welcome back to Rook Daily. It's been a weird week. It's been a weird start to the year, right? A lot of politics going on. And hang on a second. Wow. Sorry. Right. Okay. So listen. New documentary came out this week, Making a Bad Boy, or whatever the frick it's called. Hang on a second, get over it. Listen, man, I hope OG Shadow's all right. Yeah, nah, Ronnie Bo is not going to be on this live, sadly. Sadly not. But we are going to talk a little bit about a few things that were mentioned in this documentary that came out. And this idea of monsters are made. And I thought it was a pretty good documentary. I will say tonight, 9:30, Jaguar Right, we're going to be sort of going through the documentary. So I don't want to specifically jump into too many points. But this idea of monsters are made is an interesting theory. And we're going to touch on it just now. And then about 8 o'clock, I think I'm back live with Did His Mother Make Him? Because for today, my topic of discussion is going to be looking at the possibilities of catalysts, of inspiring moments in Diddy's life when he was growing up, where all of this was just normalized in ways that are but pre-Hollywood, are there's no connections there. And yeah, it's interesting. Like, because we can argue, I mean, I've met monsters that were born, right? But specifically when we're looking at cases like this, and we're looking at not nice people, I'm fascinated by what makes them. I think humanity finds peace in monsters, right? Like, we feel better sleeping at night knowing that the monster in question's got something wrong with them or something happened to them. It gives us peace of mind that it's not capable from just anyone, right? There has to be a reason. And I think when it comes to PDFs and when it comes to, we've got a new abbreviation, which is going to be the Breakfast Club, all right? Which is serial enders, okay? So people that are in the Breakfast Club and the PDF files, it's always fascinated me, the ones that have nothing that differentiates them from you or I. Like, there's no trauma, there's no catalyst, there's no nothing. They're just monsters. Oh, it's not about excusing them. It's not about excuses, mate. It's not about excuses. It's not about excuses at all. It's just always fascinated me. It really has. But for now, we're going to just have a look into some of the news headings that have come out about Diddy since this documentary came out. And I am very much looking forward to tonight's show with Jag. Because they touched, I really feel like when Jag's little, snippets were used in the documentary, I don't know how you felt, right? But I kind of felt like they were having a jab, right? Having a wee like poke at like, well, there's more that could be said here. We're just letting you know that we know there could be more that could be said here. That's the kind of vibe I got. But if Jag wasn't asked to be in or on it, I might have a different view on that. But listen, if you guys can all do me a huge favor, right? I spent the last 2-3 days reversing our wonderful daughter Nova's sleeping plan, right? And for the last 2 days, we've had normal sleep up at 7 in the morning. It's been awesome, right? It has been awesome. And I want to keep it that way. So I think for now, 3 o'clock is going to be the daily show time. There may be earlier shows, but the daily show will always be at 3. So for the next sort of month anyway, I'm going to be trialing that. We need to sort of claw back what we once had. Numbers aren't necessarily the biggest drive for me. But YouTube is at it, respectfully. And the red really helps with Ron's eyes, just so you know. It really helps. Like, it looks really red here, but no lights directly in my eyes. I look like a beady black-eyed monster. It's great, right? So we do have an hour background though, which is all set up now. 1 second. I'm slowly getting to grips with these lights. This one should be blue, I think, right? And it's crazy because everything goes pink, but that's just because the background's now blue and the side lights are still red. It's crazy. Crystal Mardis. So I had a bit of an epiphany. Let's just get to it. We're gonna have a heart to heart here now, people. So I had an epiphany the other day. There's been a lot of stuff going on, a lot of things being said, a lot of shenanigans, right? And it got me realizing, right, that yes, over the last sort of 4 years, 5 years, I've been transitioning into new periods of my life. There's been a lot of things behind the scenes that maybe you guys don't know about going on in my personal life over the last few years. I genuinely woke up the other day with a feeling of, what am I doing? Like, what have I accomplished here? We've had some laughs, we've done some great streams, but what have we been, what are we doing here, right? And I feel like I want to take a step back into what I used to do. It has to be very much formatted for 2025. And it can only happen with the intelligence of the community. Because when we start talking about Breakfast Club members, GGs, and PDFs, it takes a certain level of intelligence to piece things together. And I had some big plans. And I don't know if those plans are going to come to fruition anymore. So I sort of changed things about a little bit. And I'd like to give a new project on a Friday a chance to take off. And there'll be more on this very soon. But I need to just, I want to do 2 or 3 shows a day for the next sort of week and talk about things and talk about them in the way they need to be spoken about. Make sure the algorithm's happy with it, and then we will be good to go. We'll be good to go. But until then, 35 minutes ago, we have a Wendy Williams quote here. So again, we sort of stumbled upon the Wendy Williams conspiracy. Oh, also, we're going to be trialing something this afternoon where we're going to look at a case of a GG group, and I'm going to change some of the words using the inspect code element of Google Chrome so that I can show you actual statements within this news report, but take away, like, for example, it will literally say R word or PDF file instead of the real words, because I need you to have solid, concrete evidence of what I'm reporting on is true, but I want to try and play the algorithm out its game. And because I'm a tech nerd, I can make anything and say anything I want on the screen. Now, I'm pretty sure all of you were there, as we were reporting on this, when we stumbled upon the Wendy Williams conspiracy, right? And Wendy Williams had been very critical of Jay-Z and Beyonce, very outspoken, if you will. And there are fantastic compilations of her metaphorically slapping the two of them down. And she then developed the same form of dementia as Bruce Willis. Now, the rumors and all of the suspicious everything is wild. And do you know one thing from that documentary, right, that kind of blew my mind a little bit? Was, see in the movies, right? See in the movies when we look at hip hop and gangs and all this kind of stuff. It's very like romanticized and glamorized in movies with the pew pews, right? But Sean Diddy Combs was the one man who broke the mold of the hip hop industry. You know, he wanted to transition into, like they said in the movies, in that documentary, they wanted to go to the mansions and the Bentleys and the suits. And he felt like that's what he wanted to portray. He never really was talked about as a tough guy or anything like that. And if you were good at business, right? Does it not make sense, metaphorically speaking, to be more prolific within the realms of finding substances that can cause other illnesses, such as pneumonia, for example? Because I feel like if we look throughout history, there's so many methods. Like, if you've ever heard of the assassin's teapot, Google that. That's a prime example. But I think as long as you take away your attachment from the actual ending of the person, like, some people need to look the person in the eye, or it's passion or crime of passion or whatever. I feel like this is like the corporate version of that, where it's just, as long as it goes down in the coroner's office as a natural occurrence, we're good. That makes sense? Because that's way more effective than just pulling up on someone, right? And I feel like lessons were learned in Vegas, and lessons were learned with Biggie. And it's like everyone else that was involved and around a certain individual throughout a certain time have all crossed over. And some of them, it's quite allegedly suspicious. Right? So, Wendy Williams, it just seems odd. It just seems odd, right? That people who've been outspoken, people who've been in close relations, people who've been in close work environments, all these people are dropping like flies or developing illnesses or whatever. And it just seems very scary. Like, let's be honest what we're talking about here. Like, be actually very clear in your head what we are talking about here. Because could you imagine if evidence came to light that would prove that there was human interference with various people who are no longer here right now within the Didysphere case? Would we then be talking about Rico, all those other charge-ins, plus him becoming a member of the Breakfast Club, somebody who serial people? I mean, that would be the case, right? And again, this is all hypothetical. We're just talking a little bit about my reaction to the documentary and things that got me thinking here. Let me just throw up my legal banner here, because of course, I would like to reiterate, of course, Diddy and Jayz are 100% innocent until proven guilty. I tell you something, a little bit of me wants to go to the bookies and put a £10 bet on that Diddy is going to have a Christmas #1 this year. Like, a little bit of me just feels like there's going to be this horrible 1% chance that not only is he going to get away with all of this, but for some reason he's going to be vindicated in our eyes. Not our eyes, but the sheeple. Sorry, yeah. What I should do is actually put things up on the screen so you know I'm reading them. Can you imagine after Gigi and Diddy started mastering their criminal tricks, alleged criminal tricks, we started to teach their associates how they've allegedly. Listen, you know, I've got some pretty dark theories, and they all stem from that basketball game, the horrendous things that happened there, and the trajectory that it put certain people on. It's crazy, man. That documentary was really good. And I tell you what, though, can we all play? Did you spot the plant? Did you all see the plant in the documentary? One of the people they had on there was the biggest Fatty McFatter plant. But I think it was good that he was there. I really do. I think that I tell you something else. What was the name of Diddy's bodyguard? What the hell was his name? I've been talking about it and saying his name for the last couple of days. What was his name? Gene. That was it. Right. Ah, man. You know that at some point there's a book coming. Like, there's got to be, like, the Gene memoirs. Like, here's the thing. Does anybody feel like, does anybody else feel like Gene Deal knows more than he's saying, right? And let's not, this isn't like a victim thing. This isn't like a point and victors thing, right? But does anyone else feel like that Gene knows a lot more than he's saying? He'd have to, right? But then here's another thing, right? Here's another thing. And I'm going to be honest with you. If I was Diddy, okay, and I had the come on, brain, the multi-layered parties, okay? So we've got the 6 o'clock party that starts, everybody's welcome, the pool's out, everyone's da-da-da. And then there's the first level of the party when they get sent away, but we're still not really, nothing really dodgy is happening. There's just a lot of like consensual adult stuff happening, right? And then the next level of the party, I would have security for each of those levels. Do you know what I mean? I wouldn't want my public security being any part of the shenanigans. Does that make sense? So it does make me think that, I mean, I don't know. I don't know. Oh, and here comes Maggie. Maginstein, how are you?
Hello.
How are we doing? We're not
Good
really.
and
I'm just
you.
ranting. I'm just ranting, to be honest. Right? We're the first
Mm.
article I pulled up was a Wendy Williams quote, and then we started talking about the whole conspiracy with Wendy Williams and how we found out about it, and then how if you were a billionaire businessman and you perfected, and I'm just saying allegedly, I'm not necessarily talking about anyone specific, but if you figured out a way of making people disappear, but it looked like it was natural causes, you perfect. You mean you're done? I mean that is the perfect way, right? It is when you.
Yes.
It's the perfect way, right? And
Mm-hmm.
if that was the case, and if we were, if hypothetically, if
Mm-hmm.
we then discovered that there was foul play in several of the people who were mentioned in that documentary, if we found out there was foul play, would that not make Diddy a serial person? You know, the serial ender people, which, by the way,
Yes.
we call them the Breakfast Club now. Just so you know, that's the stupid new term for people who serially
The
do away with
Breakfast Club.
the Breakfast Club members. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, no, he is the one who cook for everyone in the Breakfast Club. That's who
It's
he is.
it's wild though, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
when we look at hip hop, right, traditionally, when you think of like hip hop rivalries or hip hop vendettas, they're usually
Mm-hmm.
very Hollywood. There's a lot of pew pews, there's a lot of madness going on when you think about it in your head, right? But then you think
Yeah,
about
exactly.
Diddy and how he was the opposite of hip hop when he went into hip hop. He didn't want the gangs and the streets. He wanted the bling and the mansions and all of that. And when
Mm-hmm.
you look at then imagine what his version of hip hop wars would be, it would be a much more hands off, classy, suit and tie, gentlemanly approach to horrible acts. So it's all interesting and all allegedly. I just want to point out,
Allegedly, of course.
but it made me a lot of things. Now, have you had a chance to watch the documentary?
Yes, I did. Did you?
Okay, yeah. Oh, I've watched it a couple of times. Now, there's two
Oh,
things.
damn.
There's two things we're not going to talk about on this show, but you're welcome to join
Mm-hmm.
me later. One is how. So at 8 o'clock, I'm going to talk about the possibility of how his mother made him, right? Just by going from what we've seen in the documentary. So we're going to stay away from
Mm-hmm.
that just now. And we're also going to stay away from any of the Jaguar Wright bits because Jaguar Wright's coming on tonight. But take me through it. Take me through it. And I just want to ask you: Did you
Mm-hmm.
know? Did you notice the obvious Diddy plant in the documentary?
Ah, are we talking about a certain lawyer?
No, no, we're talking about one of the dudes. I can't. His name's in here somewhere, right? But he was the
Mm.
guy that said that Diddy ran over and started giving CPR during the basketball and was like very hands on. And then Gene was like, anyone who tells you, right, that this happened is lying. Okay,
Exactly.
right. Give me
Mm-hmm.
1 second. That's my mum phoning. So just start your reaction if you can, Madge.
Okay, no worries. So yeah, no, during that documentary, it was pretty crazy because it just confirmed everything we already believed, I think. Um, I do believe that it was interesting to talk with his childhood friends because his childhood friend could actually explain why, like where he came from. That was he always that DD person? No, he came from being a loser to now being. It's like the revenge of the loser against the world. He was the person who was getting bullied. He was the weak one. And then now suddenly he came back and now he is the biggest bully of them
Yeah.
all.
I mean, look at the two likeliest, most bullied people who are billionaires, right?
Hmm.
Bill Gates, Puff Daddy. Okay. Like there was a comedian that once said, you know how many times you have to get yourself stuffed in a locker and your ass kicked to be like, I'm going to take over the world with computers. Like, do you realize?
Yes.
Like, do you realize? Like, it's serious. So it's interesting when we look at
Hmm.
hyper intelligence, right? Hyper intelligent people who are put into traumatizing scenarios as children, and vengeance and bitterness could set in. I'm not saying that's what happened with Bill Gates, but I mean, come on, right? There's a big difference between the coolness of the Apple founders and Bill Gates. All right,
Hmm.
it's the same with the lizard guy that owns Facebook, whoever his Zuckerberg. Do you know what I'm saying? I'm just saying,
Yes, it's the same thing.
like least cool man ever. Like it's just mad. It's funny how I mean, I don't really use Facebook, but when we look at social media in general, it has always been a
Mhm.
powerhouse within the realm of social media. And he's just such a dork. Like
Yes.
the least charisma ever. I mean, that's
Yes.
just my personal opinion. I'm sorry, Zuckerberg, if you're watching this. It's not, I'm not attacking you. I just want to say, like, just get a couple of, just change the octaves when you're talking a little bit. Like, get some different, like, tones in there and blink. That's another one I would suggest. Blink.
That would be
Uh,
good. That would be good. Hmm.
it's a bit wild. So, okay, so let's go back to the documentary. It starts off,
Hmm.
um, and we're sort of taking on this journey. And I think the way that they done it with the friend from his high school, okay,
Yes.
the one who about halfway through you realize the reason he's there is he was on the same journey, and they both came to the sort of the same part in the crossroad,
Hmm.
and one went one way and one went the other. And it's interesting when people have their own memories of a monster. Okay,
Exactly.
you see it happening in prison a lot. You'll get, you know, prison stories where cellmates have to get along. So you'll have one guy in with another guy, and the crimes of the guys that they're in with might be absolutely atrocious. But if you want to have happy living, you're going to find other things that you can connect with these with your cellie about. So when we
Exactly.
have, yeah, so for me, I want to hear your thoughts. I want to hear your thoughts on this friend who was part of all of this and now lives in the woods. You have to sort of wonder if that was by design. And for me, I think the biggest part of that
Yeah.
was his hidden room in the bathroom. And I'll tell you this right now, that ain't the only hidden room in that house. If he's built it, if he's got one hidden room of shame, trust me, there's more hidden rooms of shame. Okay, and I tell you, one of them is just going to be called the ammo room. Okay, okay, the
Yeah.
Doomsday Diddy room.
Or the baby oil room or
Oh,
something.
just about yeah. Do you know what? See, as soon as I finished that rant, I was like, you wasted that. You should have just went with the baby oil room. Uh,
Hmm.
but take me through it, Maggie. Shut me the flip up, please, and just take us through.
Well, like I said, it was just interesting that a lot of people that knew him as the loser that he was at the beginning would just call him Sean. And then they were like, I didn't know Diddy. I don't know Puff. Like when he became Puff, that's when he became the bully that he is. But when he was just Sean, he came from a tragic background with his father, what happened to his father, his mother, where he was living with her and he was living with that other dude that was
No,
protecting
here's
him.
Maggie. Let me tell
Hmm.
you. So, did you get the main hidden nugget in the father backstory? Like,
Are we talking about the informant for the police?
well, it's not so much the informant, right? It was
Which
more of
part?
his location, right? His father was a renowned gangster turned police informant for New York, right?
Hmm.
And New York seems to be at this very heart and soul of Diddy, right? You got the key to the city. His friend, the mayor, ironically, was arrested a week after him. Uh,
Yeah.
is there a lineage here? Is there? And again, this is one of these. We need to get the cork boards out and the red string and be like, okay, so how many years are we talking that his dad was walking around doing stuff in New York? How many
Exactly.
generations have gone past? Who would be in power? Is there anyone who's, you know, because for me, there's something there. There's a little num nums there that no
Mhm.
one wants us to pick up on. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, I do feel that there is a connection because his own lineage, and then after going back, and now he has all that power and the same type of ways. I don't know. There's something that
It's
it's like
odd.
he was chosen for something because of yes, he was desperate. Yes, he was parking in his car to have like any type of deal with AVD, but why him?
See, do you know what's weird, right? I used to have these weird daydreams that I was going to wake up one day and realize that school and education's nothing. And if you just walk up to the right person and give them the right speech, that means more than any education that you can possibly have when it comes to careers and stuff. And I
Mhm.
think, right, there's a couple of things I think, right? I think
Yeah.
Puff Daddy could have been exactly who he is without any of the nastiness.
Mhm.
If there was just a different upbringing, would he have been as powerful? Definitely not, because evil's what runs Hollywood, right? But
Exactly.
I think he may have been because I mean, when you get handed a check for 60 million, right? From let's just refer to him as, white Satan right now, the person that handed him the check. Um,
Mhm.
these are the people who we need to keep an eye on. Like, for example, if you've got two groups of people fighting, right? One of them heavily armed, one of them no armament at all. Suddenly they become super armed,
Mhm.
and we've got to wonder where they came from, who armed them, and all the rest of it, because it's interesting who pays the bills to make motions happen, to put things into test, to have the lack of morals to be like, well, I'll give you the 60 million, but I'd like some girl bands, if you know what I'm saying. Maybe bring some girl bands into this, maybe have some parties. Um,
Exactly.
but I had a new understanding of let's call it the same sex shenanigans with Diddy,
Hmm.
right? So when it comes to all of the same sex stuff and
Yeah.
the people being filmed and all of this only stems from a place of power with Diddy. This
Yes.
is like, it's not about seeing any of these people as men or women. It's about his entire governing mindset over it all. So, for example, there was a
Mhm.
quote where he said, if these girls don't fall into line, I'll just DURG them and then PIEP them out to my N words.
Yep.
I mean, that for me was it. That's the one. That's it, mate. That is it. That is the one. And that
Mhm.
mindset, that's not a day one mindset. That what happened in that hotel isn't a day one mindset. That's not day
Exactly.
one of being a DV monster. You know what I'm saying? That's not day
Mhm.
one of being a secret intoxicator person. This is elite level career path stuff. And when people are so passively written off that they
Mhm.
are then going to be used as toys for people, like this. So imagine, just try and imagine where I'm trying to go with this. So you and I have been working together months. You're in the band, and you annoy me one day, and as a result of
Mhm.
that, you're now, intoxicated against your knowledge and passed around like a freaking pipe, metaphorically speaking, right? But
Yeah.
we've had a relationship. We've been working together for months. What
Mhm.
am I willing to do to the person that you brought with you that I have no connection with? What am I willing to
Exactly.
do to those people who are ladies of the street or missing or
Mhm.
metaphorically brought from one place to another? What am I willing to do to them?
A lot. He doesn't think other people are human. He thinks we are all plaything. So if the plaything that he actually knows is being disrespectful, what is he gonna do to the friend of the plaything? Everything.
Freaking wild, man.
Yeah, he doesn't
So,
care.
so over
Mhm.
the next couple of weeks, like I say, we're going to be talking more and more about certain things in ways that we have to. And as long as things go according to my plan, I do have a new podcast I want to start on a Friday, uh, covering a lot of different aspects of what we're talking about here. Because, if there's things that I thought everybody knew and Big Homie didn't even know about certain symbols, then there's a good chance we need to sort of reiterate some stuff.
I agree.
And there will be accompanying pages on my website for stuff. Okay, because I may not even show the symbols. I may just make a page on the website and refer to them as symbol A, B, C, D, for
Mhm.
simple, just because. It's, It's because that's YouTube. So I want to read this. I want to read this, and then we're going to get back into this documentary. William Winston said, "It's about time Sean Diddy Combs goes to prison for life." The former talk show host addressed Sean Diddy Combs' legal troubles during her bombshell Breakfast Club interview Thursday morning. Diddy will go to prison for life. People, she predicted while wrapping up her call. You don't know the things that I know about Diddy back in the day. William 60 added, you know what? It's about time, people. It's about time. Diddy done. So Combs 55 has been done. Okay, I think this is just going to be recapping. So I believe that Wendy Williams is one of these people who publicly spoke out against Jay-Z and Beyonce. And I think that if there's any foul play, I think it went completely wrong. Like, the last thing that they want is a further vengeance-fueled Wendy Williams. Ron,
Except if they decide to actually end it all with her, because now she is able to, function. But a couple of weeks ago, that was not the case.
Right?
There are some people who are made really strong, like I'll Be Sure and her, but it doesn't mean that because they were fine the first time that it will be the same the second time.
So first, I just want to say, my whole life, I thought it was I'll Be Short, right? And then never realized that it was a cool abbreviation, and the guy had changed his name to I'll Be Sure, right?
Exactly.
And it wasn't the documentary, and I seen it, and I was like, oh, that's how you see that. But he was a really cool guy. Like,
yes,
he was as far as like suave points, right? Like most people that wear those hats, instant cringe, instant cringe. But nah, he was using the suaveness. But let's talk about his son. Okay, let's talk about the
Quincy.
fact that a beautiful woman has come into your life. You've had a child with her, and then a man that is collectively known by some people in his circles as Lucifer tells you that he's adopted your son and he's marrying this woman. Like, that he was given a choice, right? He was given a choice. One where he played along and the other where he swam with the fishes. Allegedly, I think, in my opinion.
Absolutely. The moment he started talking about what happened to Kim, he suddenly had also a heart attack.
Yeah, and here's the other thing. What better way of flexing? I mean, when we talk about the guy on guy stuff not being about that and it being about power, taking a man's son and making him smile for the cameras and be okay about it. I mean,
no, it's horrible. But can you imagine you're here with your wife and your newborn, and then there is a random man who is with his girlfriend, and he's like, damn, I want a girl like yours. Fuck.
Yeah, see, it doesn't surprise me. In fact, I think that's quite subtle in the Diddy world. Like, I think people would be like, oh, you handled that well. You didn't just walk up to him and like shove him away from the woman and just lead her astray Pied Piper style. Do you know what I'm saying?
True. That is true.
You know for a fact, right? There's been moments where Diddy's been in the club, there's been the big public area, there's been some hot ladies, and he's just taking them taking people from their partners, their men, their dates, whatever. You know it's happened. You know it's happened.
For sure.
So there's a lot of this that we're sort of skirting around because 8:30, like I say, I'm going to delve into did his mother create him? But any more points before I sort of take you on to my next point with the documentary, Maggie, that stuck out for you? Because let us know.
I don't know. There's just a lot of things. Was really fascinated by who he was at the beginning, everything he did, and the desperation that he showed, and how that desperation was, rewarded. And then
Oh,
now after that, when the whole thing happened with the club and the people that were crushed to death, that he barely gave any type of money to them, and that in fact this event made him more popular,
almost
that
like,
I was not expecting.
yeah, it's almost like,
Mhm.
and now I'm not saying anything, Maggie, right? But let's just talk about history for a minute. Let's talk about history and let's talk about some hocus pocus, right? Let's talk about
Yeah.
some shim shams. Have you ever heard about
Mm.
offerings? Offerings to higher powers throughout history. I'm not talking about modern era, but you must have watched some Vikings where people have, given themselves over for certain things. And then after those certain things, they're not really here anymore, right?
Mhm.
It's interesting the massive popularity, fame, and rise that came from such a tragic event, isn't it?
Yes.
It's
Yes.
almost like if he was it was. I almost feel like somebody made a really silly bet. Oh, you know, I bet if you can't pull off something public where something tragic happens, in the name of a something,
Mhm.
I'm just saying that my brain goes to weird places, and
Especially because after he became more popular, that's when he became
it's not. I don't even
a
know if
big shot.
popular. I don't even know if popular is the right word. I mean, I think it's an understatement. Like we're talking,
Yeah.
he changed the face of an entire genre of music, and probably became one of the most known faces from the last quarter of a century.
Exactly.
Also, as well, shot a lady in the face somewhere in between all this too, right? So
Exactly.
let's not forget about that.
Mhm.
Do you know what I'm saying? It's a bit mad that that wasn't part of it all.
I think
You
it's
know what I think?
because they didn't interview Natanya. I know that she's getting an interview and another.
Yeah, but but here's the thing. Do
Mhm.
you think it was because there wasn't really any charges to the diddler in the case?
No, because he went to civil court with Natanya and lost. So I really think that it's because they couldn't maybe get Natanya. And so they
Maybe.
just didn't talk about it because
Yeah,
they were
maybe.
talking a lot because they showed the people actually lost people in that stampede.
See, or maybe
Hmm.
they only wanted a certain amount of sympathy directed. You see what I mean? I think the big
Mm,
focus was pay attention to all of the weird things that have happened to every single person, and then look at what happened to I'll be sure. Focus, focus, focus. If that makes sense. I think maybe if we'd had the face of a survivor, it may have
hmm.
directed from that. I don't know, but I mean but in saying that, I think I could only get behind that if they had intended to do this a mini series,
Exactly.
and then the next episode we
Hmm.
included that. If that made sense, that would have made sense.
Yeah. I don't know
Uh,
why they didn't talk about Natanya. I really felt it was because
if you got something going,
they
boo, boo,
they,
boo,
they
boo,
couldn't get her. Yeah, I have like my phone doing noise. I don't know why.
I
Shut
don't know
up.
either.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. We got it, Looney. Relax, Looney. All right, we figured it out. Me and Looney are sitting here going, "Is it in my head? Is it in my head?"
No, it's me. It's me. I'm sorry. It was my phone making noise and I was
Yeah,
ignoring it, thinking
yeah,
that maybe nobody was hearing it. But
yeah,
yes, people were hearing
yeah.
it.
It's all good. Uh, so
But
yeah,
yeah,
well,
no, I don't know why they didn't talk about Natanya. I really felt it was because they couldn't get her, because she is one of the only person who actually went to civil court with him and won. Because
maybe
most people just settle out of court.
let's hope. Let's fingers crossed as a community. It's because they contacted
Mm-hmm.
her. She's got something bigger that she can't talk about yet already
Mm-hmm.
happening. That's maybe a contractual thing where they have her story. Maybe it's that. Let's hope it's that because that would be awesome. Because I'm telling you now,
Because I there is
I
another interview coming out. Probably they signed something to say you cannot be doing like 1,000 interview with all the
sure
documentary.
because
So, mhm.
I have a short list of people who I would love to have a Netflix series about anything, anything at all, and Natanya is one of them. right? Like,
Absolutely.
honestly, I would love to do one of those shows where we just send her around the world doing mad shit, right? Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I think she'd do great
Type
with
of
that.
mad shit.
Oh, what kind of mad shit? Like, oh, I don't know. I don't know. Nothing crazy or nothing not going to hurt her or
Mm-hmm.
anything like that. But
Mm-hmm.
like, I don't
Mm-hmm.
know, Indonesia, right? She's there for
Mm-hmm.
3 days, but she's only allowed like I don't know, like she's got to stay in a hostel, right? And she's got to make it work. I don't know. You ever seen an idiot abroad? Just apply that. I think it would be fantastic. Right?
No, never,
It'd be
never to
too good.
Natanya,
It'd be too
never.
good. It'd be too good. And she just handle it all so. She just handle it all so well, man. She just kick ass
She
out of all of
does.
it.
She does. Like I said, she's one of the only one who didn't settle out of court with him
She's a
because the
badass.
people from the Stampede, because he scared them so much. Like the man was explaining, he said,
Yeah.
"Yo, I'm giving you 50,000, and that's the best you're gonna get."
Yeah. Well, nah. See, she's one of these people. Like when she goes, like when she starts like hitting me with a teaching moment, it's like,
Yeah,
oh no, I've got to listen to this because got
yeah.
to actually respect what she's saying. Like
Hmm.
it's like when Bev talks, and I'm like, oh no, oh no. So I hate having to be taught a lesson. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I feel you. I feel you.
You know what I mean? But she's a really, 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 really smart lady.
Yes, she
Really
is.
smart lady. I'm guessing everyone thinks that this is connected with the LA fires. I'll say it that way. So here's what I think, right? I think I would like to approach this from a Christian mindset, right?
Hmm.
And I'm just telling you now, right? This is smiting. This is smiting. Okay. The Christian God has had enough and he's just started smiting Hollywood, smiting here, smiting there, smiting. It's a smiting. It's smite time, man. That's what I think. If you're genuinely wanting what I think it is, I think Christian God's gone mad and he's just, I think that's what he's doing. I'm telling you.
Yeah, but what do you think about the LA fire? Did you talk about that?
Let's bring it up, right? Hang on. Let me just bring up the LA fires because it's
Uh-huh.
proper mad, right? For a
It
start,
is.
you know all the conspiracy, like all of the politics behind the water.
Yeah.
Like,
Why was the water closed? What the fuck?
well, they're now I'm paraphrasing, right? But some dude, okay,
Mhm.
was offered some deal for some water that comes from Canada, right? I don't know. Okay, something to do with fish.
Okay.
Something, okay, I don't know. And they turned it down for I don't know. Some idiot made some poor choices that resulted in California just having zero water. That is my dumbass. Welcome to Dumbass News. That was your dumbass breakdown of the situation, right?
That's what they said, so I agree.
And now, I'm not being funny, but this is like, there's certain things about America that make me wonder
Mhm.
if there's a population of people more resilient than Americans. Like, there's just places in America where every year, Maggie, a whirlwind or a tornado touches down and just rips your house apart, and then you build a new one, and then it comes back the following year. No one's thinking about just moving, right? No one thinks to
Yeah.
just. No one thinks this is where the wind turbines should be. Okay, like I've
Mhm.
got Morgs. Our friend Morgs lives in a part of America that is basically an oven. Okay, not like a funny, like basically imagine living in a place where if your air conditioning breaks, you cook inside your own house. Okay, just fathom that. Just
Yeah.
fathom. Just
No.
oh no, I've broken down in the car and now I've got 45 minutes to live. Right? Because you're being cooked. People
Hmm.
aren't meant to
Hmm.
live there. That is not where people should live. That's where the solar panels go, Maggie. That's where the solar panels go. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm saying there's a plan here. There's a plan. And also America, in the windy cities, why are you not just building everything out of concrete? Like, why are you building stuff out of wood so much? Like,
Because
why?
it's pretty.
No, but to put the wood on the outside. Like, build the big cement fortress and then cladding. America, cladding. Google cladding. Okay. You just stick
Mhm.
the nice looking wood on the outside. And then when the tornado comes, it blows all the outside away and you can stand inside going, today, nature. Not today.
I don't know why. And I don't even understand those fires. Those fires are weird. So many theories about those fires.
Oh, yeah, that's what we're meant to be talking about. Okay. But nature in America's mad, mate. It's
Yes.
mad. It's mad. Like the fires, the wind, the seas. Did you know that Orlando's lightning capital of the world?
What?
Yeah, I didn't know that until I was taking off in a plane. Just taking off in a plane. It was like an apocalypse movie. Wild. Nature's mad in America, man. It's mad.
Yes.
It's like it's angry. It's like America is mad about something. It's like a landscape. I'm just saying.
Maybe America is mad.
Do you know what I mean? Like Americans, I've got family who are Americans. I'm going out for a wedding. My dad lives there. I've got a lineage with America. First 2 years of my life spent in America.
Really?
Oh yeah. Like I love Americans, but the like I've never met a more armed nation who's more terrified of doing anything. Like, why are y'all fighting each other? Like, there's millions of yous, and you're all trying to fight each other. There's like 12 people in charge of the country, like 12 or something, right? I'm not trying to inspire anything. I'm not saying anything. Politics is great. I'm just saying, it's crazy, the political system and how a nation like America can be divided to such a point where the madness that takes place from a political side, and not just there, it's the same in my country, they get away with it. But in saying that, $12 for like what, 5 eggs or something like that. I don't know what's going on over there, man. But
craziness. That's what's going on over there.
how much is a chicken? Like a living chicken?
I don't know. I'm not American.
It's like surely the thing to do is like get a bunch of chickens, right? Like
I think that is the best. But imagine that there's a shortage of chicken.
I'm very concerned about America. You know what I mean? Like my dad's out there right now, just living his best life, thinking everything's wonderful in the world. I keep trying to tell him, it's like, no, it's okay. I'm Italian. Don't worry. He's just, you know what I mean? He's cool. He's fine. He's okay. The guy should be on YouTube is cooking on YouTube. I'll tell you that right now. He's brilliant. He's so Italian. He's so Italian. Like so Italian.
I can't believe your dad is Italian.
Oh yeah. Oh, my Italian family are. If I was to put them on a photograph together, half of the internet would think this was some sort of racial stereotype meme, and the other half would appreciate that it's my family. Because
wow.
No, my uncles from over in the old country look like. Pick anyone from The Godfather, right? And then put 4 of them together. That's what they look like. Okay. They refuse to speak English, but they can understand everything you're saying, but they'll only answer you in Italian. Okay. They have eaten nothing. Dude, listen. My Nona used to still get up at 5 a.m. to make handmade gnocchi until the day she freaking passed over at like 90 something. My Italian family is genius. They're genius. Also, Joe Pesci, that is what I call Nova now. She is tiny Joe Pesci. Right? She is tiny Joe Pesci from Goodfellas. 100% absolute tiny Joe Pesci. But there's like, I remember the last time we had a big family funeral, and you're looking at everyone in the place, like where the funeral was taking place, right? And then all of a sudden you hit the uncles, right, from the old country. And you can smell the Lacoste. Like you can smell the Lacoste from as soon as you enter, you're like, oh, we're here. You know what I mean? And it's like going back in time, man. It's like the suit cuts, the hair, everything. And they've never aged, just become, just look drier. They just look a bit drier. But man, they are Italian. Okay, is what I'm saying. They are Italian. Yeah, but it's
I loved it.
Anyway, once again, Ron side quests. So the fires. I mean, let's play conspiracy theory. Okay, let's go full conspiracy theory on this, because if there was ever, how have I just closed that down? Hang on a second. There we go. Like, if there was ever a time that we're going to talk about a conspiracy theory around how could we just get evidence, right, destroyed? How can we take advantage of a natural disaster? This seems like a pretty good one, right? I mean,
Absolutely.
so just to say, so confirmed, like Diddy's house is gone, right?
Yes, and I think Beyonce's and Jay-Z's 22 million house also burned. A lot of suspicious house burned suddenly.
It's just,
Hmm.
it's frustrating,
Hmm.
because what a brilliant scheme. Like,
Yes.
what a brilliant scheme. In that we are the evil overlords of the world, and
Hmm.
we're going to go to bed and sleep at night after doing that.
Hmm.
That's a new level of wowzer.
And then
Like,
the moment his house burned, he started saying, "I don't have any tape. All the tape are from Cassie."
yeah. And I'll tell you, do you know the maths
Hmm.
on creating a functional narrative in a situation like this? So, in order for us to all go, oh, that's so, that makes sense. We've got to burn down like 120 houses for every one house that we want to burn down as part of a ploy to make it look convincing. Just keep that math in your head.
Hmm.
Allegedly, right?
Allegedly, allegedly.
It's just like the levels of evil, okay? The
Yep.
levels of disattachment, the levels of just evil is so
Yeah.
prevalent.
Yeah.
I mean, it really, really is. And again, here's another thing. It's very interesting that if we're talking about a conspiracy involving high up individuals who may have wanted to hide certain things, allegedly, I'm not saying that. Diddy's totally innocent, maybe. I don't know. I wasn't there. So,
Absolutely.
so I'm one of these evil individuals, and getting rid of all this evidence, surely then we have to ask what's next. Because if they're willing to burn up the evidence, all we're talking about now is loose ends. Jay-Z and Beyonce, Diddy, anyone that's involved in alleged conspiracy, this alleged
Hmm.
alleged conspiracy, if they're
Hmm.
willing to do this to make sure everything that can come back to anyone other than them is gone, right?
Hmm.
You're just a loose end at this point, right?
Yes. Yes.
So then we have to ask, how
Hmm.
sticky a situation can you have gotten yourself into where $9 billion can't get you out of it, Maggie? How much money do you have to have for me not to be able to buy you off with up to $9 billion?
I need to be a billionaire already, I suppose.
I think there's people that exist within realms of finance and wealth where there's
Hmm.
numbers and ways of corrugating wealth that we as these little pawns,
NPCs.
yeah,
Exactly.
we don't even know.
No,
Do you ever wonder like what billionaire television looks like? Because the adverts surely have to be different on their television. Like, I can't
I
imagine.
think
There's got to be
I
like a
think they watch
billionaires
Squid
network.
Game. I think they watch Squid Game, but with us instead.
Yeah, they just look down on their global CCTV cameras from their satellites, watching us all dance around. Uh,
I think we are their television. I think we are in the Truman Show.
well, listen. Here's the thing. I love the
Mhm.
concept of Admiral Byrd's ice wall and the hidden continent, right? You know about Admiral Byrd? He was a highly decorated World War II admiral, right? Like,
Okay.
we're talking as far as World War II goes, right?
Mm.
he was the big swinging daddy hero after the war for the Air Force, right? And they went, right, we've got all these dudes, we've got all these planes, let's give them a whack of money and say, go and explore the world, right? So Admiral
Mhm.
Byrd flew to Antarctica, right? And him and his,
Mhm.
and you've got to understand, this is a serious man. Admiral Byrd was a serious man, all right? And he said that when his crew and him arrived there in their planes, they found a 2 mile high wall of ice, right, with another continent on the other side with rainforests and things like this. And then they flew back because they couldn't access it. And that was the last time anyone was ever allowed to go there. To this day, no one has been back. You cannot go there. There's a few military bases and scientific research bases. That is it. You cannot go there, Maggie. You cannot go there. I
What?
cannot go there. It is sealed off to the world. And it is one of my favorite theories because that would make so much sense if there was an actual other continent. And this is just where what we're led to believe is all that's there. It's fascinating to me. You know what I
I
mean?
wouldn't be surprised about anything. I wouldn't be surprised if they told me that they're actually already colonizing Mars. Like those people are so weird and they have so much money to do weird things with it that we don't know because we are NPCs.
What kind of blows my mind a lot is when like rich nerds
Hmm.
start building rockets, right? So Elon Musk, right? We can sort of go, well, we kind of know he's super businessman, super wealthy guy, right?
Hmm.
But you know how many other people who are millionaires who are building their own rockets to leave this planet? Like there's a few, right? There's a few of them, right? And they're building to leave. Like their whole thing is if they needed to, they could jet off and leave the planet if the planet was ever going to fall apart, right?
Exactly.
Like,
No,
can you
they're
imagine?
already trying to colonize other planet. I
Yeah,
can't.
but listen, Maggie, just imagine, right? You're sitting around
Hmm.
at a fancy dinner party, right, with
Hmm.
all of the other wives of all the other elite people, and you're like,
Hmm.
oh, Harold just built us a rocket. He wants us to be safe, you know. He wants to make sure that if the world comes to an end, we can live on in outer space. Oh, Gerald's just built you a shelter. Oh, yes. No. You see, Harold and I, we're leaving. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
You know that happened. You know that has happened.
Yes. Yes. They're probably already constructing like houses on Mars and we just don't know about it yet.
Well, here's the thing, right? So I am so
Hmm.
excited, right, about leaving this planet. Like, not me personally, but like, why have we not been back to the moon? Like, why like America's not renowned for just going somewhere once and going, all right, see ya, and leave it. Like they've got a pretty well established reputation for going, we're just gonna stick about here for a little while. All right, we're gonna see over
Hmm.
there. See that little bit there. That's where we're gonna be, right? If you need
That's
us,
that's ours.
ignore the sniper tower. Don't worry about that.
Hmm.
Okay, that's it's just for ducks. Okay, um, because I got some questions. Now, I'm not saying we've been to the moon. Okay, I'm not saying any of that's true because I love the debate about the moon because I've seen some things and heard some things that make me think some things. But
Yeah, of course.
I love the thought of some guy who bought Twitter having so much money that he's built a flipping rocket to take humans to Mars. I'm going to be honest with you. If I could sneak Dan onto that rocket, right, go to Mars and have another baby, that baby would be a Martian. Okay? Because humans come from Earth, Martians come from Mars. Okay? And I want a little Martian. I mean, how cool
Can
would
you
that be?
imagine? Can you
A little
imagine?
Martian.
The first Martian on Earth.
Oh, yeah. Well, here's the thing as well, because I think imagine because I think you're taller on there's certain things that happen to your body in on Mars. They've said allegedly, uh,
Oh.
like yeah. Listen, if you believe people are even in space, I've seen evidence to support both arguments. Uh, but I love that. I just love the topic, man, because there's one way we can find out. All right, we buy a bunch of weather balloons, and we have enough Capri Suns that one of us ties himself to it, and up we go. Right,
Up we go. Up we
up we
go.
go.
Up we
Up we go.
go. Up we go. Up we go.
We've all seen cartoons where you just, as long as you pop the right amount of balloons, you'll come down slowly, right?
Yeah.
We've all seen that. It's
Yes.
just about,
Yes.
yeah.
And we
So
know that Tom and Jerry are absolutely known for their physique, and
yeah, 100%, 100%, 100%. Give us a like and a share, everybody, if you can. We're just having a little chat about, I don't know what we're even at. We're sidetracked. We're just discussing the
we
possibilities.
were talking about the fires, and then we talk about Mars.
Well, yeah, but here's the thing, right? Like, I think the conspiracy theories surrounding the fires
Yeah.
are justified. I think when we're looking at the possibility of the cabal, shall we say, the overlords, the faceless cajillionaires that have their fingers in all the pies, and what we are
Yeah.
led to believe is the top of the tower, fame, money, status, influence. That is definitely what Diddy, Jay-Z, all these people had. But in the relative larger scheme of the world and the cabal and the allegedlys, the people that are behind all of this to me is a clear sign of cleansing, right? In the same way as, you can delete stuff off your computer, but, it doesn't really delete. You got
Exactly.
digitally shred stuff. Do you know what I'm saying? So this to me is a fantastic way of doing away with all of it. All of it.
Yeah. Yeah. Because the coincidence of the documentary coming out and being announced, and then the fire, and then now Diddy starting to talk that he never had any tape.
Yeah.
It's just too much coincidence for me. All of
Well,
it.
do you know what else? Do you know what else? Do you know what the secret side, the secret result that's going to come from this, from a percentage of people? Sympathy. Oh, he's lost everything. They've lost it all. Surely they're not bad. If they've lost everything, they can't be bad people, right? Surely not. We're going to see it, man. We're going to see Jay-Z standing beside his wife talking about how he's lost everything and he can't believe he's still having to deal with all of this. I'm just saying, okay, we have not fully achieved full mind changing across the world here. When it comes to their fan base, when it comes to all of the people who are hypnotized by modern ideology and this whole worshipping of celebrity.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, listen, all I'm saying, I'm not against that because Australia turned out brilliant. Okay. And that's all I'm saying. So if we just send all the prisoners to Mars, right? Australia turned out great. I don't care what you say, Maggie. Australia turned out brilliant. Okay. And it was.
What do you mean by that?
Well, Britain just went, listen, we need to read a big prison, right?
No!
Either build one or we can send them over there. And that's what they did. And then all the prisoners went, right, we're not really in prison here. Do you want to just build some houses and maybe like start some families? And they were like, yeah, right. Australia. That was the whole history of Australia there. That was it. Nailed it.
Thank you, Professor Ron.
Yeah, I'm skipping over a lot of the atrocities that took place, right? But there's a reason why the prisoners walked into the middle of Australia, went back to the edge of Australia and went, we'll just be here, right? We'll just go around the crust. We'll go around the crust, 100%. And do you know what's fascinating about Australians, right? They're so Australian. I don't know how else to put it. Like, they are so. I'm fascinated by Australians. Like, I just am. Like, they live in a different time zone, man. Like, they live somewhere in like the early 90s and late 80s, but it's 2025.
Really?
Mad. Oh, dude, but I'm so here for it, man. Like, I love Australians. I love them, and they just fascinate me, man. They're up there with Scottish people for swear words, saying outrageous shit just for no reason, mid conversation. We're throwing out the C word. We're just throwing out the F word. It's just fascinating. It's fascinating. Love it.
I'm mostly fascinated by the fact that this spider can be as big as my house.
Oh yeah, listen, it's not the big spiders you got to worry about, mate. It's the tiny ones the size of your pinky nail that grow inside your shoe and just kill you. I'm sorry. I put my shoe on now, and a tiny thing has ended my life. I'm not about that. As a nation, you should have wiped those out. I'm just saying. There's a reason why wolves and bears and these things don't exist in Scotland anymore, because we went, you're gonna nah.
Nah.
Nah. Luckily, though, the whole world didn't do that because, nature.
Exactly. Protecting nature. But the Scottish were like, nah, man.
Now let's just populate the place with deer and watch the entire agriculture fall apart, and us go, oh no. Yeah. Do you know that there was a guy who, at the start of the 2000s, wanted to reintroduce wolves back into Scotland because of the results he'd had with reintroducing them into areas of Germany, I believe, right? Because when deer population gets over the top, Maggie, there's something that's called the rut, right? And the big males have got their antlers, and they rub this stuff off their antlers against the trees, which then kills the tree. Basically, it takes the bark off. Once a tree has got a full circle of bark removed from it, it's going to rot and it's going to die. And they showed that by not controlling these deer, they lost a quarter of an entire forest over about 2 decades, right? I mean, you can just see it. It's all dead. And then they reintroduce a predator to control the flow and the how many deer there are. And it's all grown back. It's all flourished. It is mental. It is mental when you see what happens when so for example, it's such a nice world, let's take away the wolves, let all the lovely animals and Bambi buns around. But if we let that happen, eventually they would destroy their own ecosystem.
Like how is happening with us?
Well, no, that's why we have got gamekeepers in Scotland and in the UK. Maybe in Australia.
With human, we took off most of our predators, and now we're destroying our ecosystem.
Let me tell you what humans did. Humans decided to just absolutely bang them. I mean, reproduce past res. I call it. We have banged ourselves past resolution. All right. So how long for 9 billion people to agree on a new name for the sun? How long will it take you to get 9 million people to all agree on a new name for the sun, Maggie, on an insignificant topic like that? It's impossible, right?
Impossible.
So unity is then impossible, right? Exactly. So we have created the perfect way to divide us all, and that's through mass population, and that's through us being told there's not enough to go around. It's about immigration. It's about shifting population around, and it's scary, man. You know what I mean? And it's the simple minds that follow in suit that's the problem. And simple minds are scary to me right now. It's not a simple mind is somebody who will allow someone else to make a decision for them, who will be led, who will be manipulated, and who will be controlled by narrative that has been dictated to them, rather than taking the time to be a free-thinking individual. People want to talk about taking their power back, but then they put their faith in fake ideological or people that are pushing ideologies that are masked as positive, but are often toxic.
Yeah, I understand.
It goes across the board. There's no one group of people that are responsible for it. It's across the board. It's one of the sad traits of the human condition. And the worst part is we used to really only see it on the TV, on traditional levels of fame. But now with the internet, with numbers under your name, popularity being something that we can face and look at and pass judgment and see people as better of a number under their name. It's wild. It's wild. It's wild. We are living in Black Mirror.
We are. Acting as if any number, because you have a certain number of subscribers, you are superior. We're in Black Mirror for real.
I'm going to give you my prediction for this year. I think this year, Maggie, the big thing is going to be you you as the regular person, right?
Mm-hmm.
The big normalization is going to be augmented reality this year. Okay. They want you primed for the Apple glasses or the Google glasses, that if you opt in, right, and you've got your Google glasses on and you walk down the street and I opt in and our devices pick up on each other, it will show you my socials. It will show you my Instagram as you're walking past me. It will show you my overall rating as a social online individual, just like Black Mirror. It will then show you where those jeans that I'm wearing came from. It will make you look at an advert and the advert will come alive. It will augment your reality. That's the next stage, because they've got a taste of you staring at your phone and selling you stuff. They've got a taste for it now, but hey, they want all of that time. Okay. And I'm all for this. I just want to say this is one of those things that I'm excited about, but it's the people owning it and running it that are the problem. Like, I would be the
Yes,
first one to sign up for a microchip in my hand that's my passport, my credit card, everything. But it's the people that would be in charge of it that are the problem, not the technology. You see what I'm saying?
exactly.
Uh,
Because if it was just like, practical, but then it's going to be used to control. That's how they do it
oh,
all the time.
100%. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. It'll turn out. Oh, by the way, just so you know, the new Jeremy season's coming. And you know that thing that we injected you with? By the way, somebody went rogue, and there may or may not be a tiny thing that goes pop when we push the big red button. So you might want to obey us. Do you know what I'm saying? It's the nasty people in charge that are the problem. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Like I've already said publicly many, many times, I wish that I could have a full robotic left arm, right? It would be so cool. Like a full on cyber arm. It'd be freaking great. Freaking great, man.
But the people who build it would be able to control. They would probably put a bypass to be able to control your arm.
Huh. Yeah. Slap me about in that. Imagine it gets hacked and I'm just on a live stream slapping myself about
Like,
the face. Uh-huh.
no, I love Diddy. Diddy is innocent.
Hail the tiny Aussie spiders. They
Yes,
are our
yes,
overlords.
yes, yes.
Yeah, man. But like, I don't want to be the first generation of cyber arm. Like that would be like having an iPhone 1. You know what I'm saying? Like I want it to get to the point where I can order one that self-installs and I don't feel anything, and then it takes my old arm away. Oh, like when it gets to that level, I'm in. Do you know what I'm saying? I think augmented reality, and this year you're gonna hear the first talk of how they're going to make you live 30 years longer. I think we're going to start to see humans being made to live longer. And I don't know why, but I've got a funny feeling it's going to have to do with retirement age.
Yeah.
So,
They need labor.
yeah. Oh no, I definitely, Chevron. I definitely want robotic arm. Right? Definitely, 100%. And I would even
He
like
also wants to eat peanuts that will probably kill him. So, everything in this world is interesting with Ron.
Again, we're only talking, Chevron. We're talking in Ron's fantasy world here. We're not talking like I'm going to actually allow some crazy guy from where? Google? Mate, what? You can't even get a search engine to work right, let alone taking my arm off and then slapping a new one on. Nah, only in fantasy realm. Only in the fantasy world. Like for some reason, I wake up in the year 60,002, right? And this is all normal. Oh. Yeah. Sign me up. Sign me up. But anyway, fires are bad. Definitely a conspiracy. Like, if there was ever going to be a conspiracy, this is the one. Because these people, in my opinion, would 100% do away with normal people's hard work, their livelihoods, all of it,
yeah,
to save their own asses. And that is what I believe the conspiracy is. So, Maggie, what do you think? And I just want to say, anyone affected by the fires, obviously, this is horrible and tragic. And I'm sorry if we turn out to have any credit, like shred of being right on this. If you're one of the people that nature had nothing to do with, do you see what I'm saying? Obviously, nature's a pain in the ass anyway. But I feel like if nature done something to me, and then one of Diddy's pals done something to me, I'd sleep better
different.
knowing that it was nature, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
Uh,
because it's random.
plus, as
It's
well,
not. Yeah.
yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. It's not. It's still terrible and awful and horrible.
Yeah.
But man, I think I would go on a bitter rampage for the rest of my life if I thought my home went to cover up more baby oil, metaphorically speaking. You know what I'm
I
saying?
agree. Yeah, I agree. I hope it has nothing to do with like all the theory. I hope it's not true because it's not even gonna help them all that much. So why?
Well, here's the thing. See in the grand scheme of evidence, Maggie, right?
Hmm.
We've not even gone to court. Like, here's the thing, like, nothing else can come from this now. We're talking about full location cleanup with full attention on actual people who've lost their homes, as opposed to Diddy and Jayz losing their homes. So all the focus is going to be on the real people. And
Exactly.
I mean, we could argue 100% that's all that's going to be left are tunnels and concrete basements and all of this. But you watch and see how quickly and what gets built on these locations. I'd be paying attention to land ownership and what gets built on these locations coming forward, because I imagine there's going to be some people getting made some offers by some other people to
Hmm.
buy up properties around certain things, if you know what I'm saying.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's
Oh,
how they
well,
always do it. That's how they find a way to get.
is that where the Olympics is going to be in 2028 in LA?
What?
Are you can someone confirm that for me, please? Because if that's the case, 2028 will be the last ditch effort in this battle between good and evil. Like
Yo,
this
stop
is a
it.
one, man. If that's where it's going to be, this is going to be
Yes, it
it.
is. It is.
Oh, yeah.
Jeux Olympiques. Yeah,
We
yeah.
all need to prepare on a spiritual level. We need to prepare. This is LA. Why? Oh, why? Why would LA ever be the place you'd have the Olympics? Like, tell me one reason for LA to have anything to do with the Olympics. Anyone. I can name you other states. In fact, any state, it would be a better state. Any state.
Why?
How about one of those states where they've got loads of lovely hotels and building a stadium would like actually boost the economy? And let's put a new state, a new surrounding state or town or city or whatever on the map. But I mean, what? LA? Oh, I wonder. Do you know that fault line? You know that fault line? I'm gonna. In fact, you know what? I'm not gonna say that. 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 But if you were ever going to rise something up from a certain place and have a
Yeah.
global catastrophe happen where a loss of life could potentially be outrageous with a natural disaster happening, it's going to be there, right?
Yep.
Yep. Okay. Anyone affected by the fires that does get a payout, move. Okay. It's time to move. Okay. Like Scotland's great. I'll show you around. Okay. Like you can sleep on the couch until you get yourself settled. And I'm talking to all of you, LA. Okay, you can all take it in turns.
It's time to run away, people. Run away.
It's not time to run away. It's time to fortify in a safer location.
Yeah, you're right.
Because that is scary. The 2028 Olympics. Do you know how sus the last Olympics were?
Yep. With them parodying. Parodying the Bible. Anyhow, it was just weird.
Yeah,
and also the woman dancing and doing break dancing.
That was the greatest thing to come from the Olympics. I'm not gonna lie to you. Like, if you ever want to have a story of being true to yourself, it is Australia's breakdown. For a woman to simultaneously destroy the first year that the breakdancing category comes into play, one woman's interpretation of what breakdancing is completely destroyed the entire category. Gone, never to be allowed again after this. And then the leg thing. I mean, I watched a woman, right? And I'm pretty sure she may have been I don't know where she was from, right? But she done a backflip. No,
Okay.
you know that the backflip is banned in figure skating, right?
Oh,
And
okay.
like I watched a lady do a backflip figure skating and land it on one foot after she knew she knew she'd already lost this in the Winter Olympics. I'm telling you now, there are certain things that I can't watch. People on cranes, you know, those people that climb up really high stuff with GoPros and then look off the edge with no safety equipment. Nah,
Yes.
nah. If you're the parent of any of these people and you've not hobbled your child like they did in Misery, okay, you need to question yourself as a parent, okay? Super glue hands to their feet, okay? That'll stop them climbing
Mm,
stuff, all right? Because when you're in a situation where a seagull flying past you can startle you to the point where you're going to fall off, nah, mate, it's not for me. I can't remember why I went off on this rant about the people that climb up tall things. What were we talking about before that?
we were talking about the Olympic and then the
Yeah. Oh, I can't remember what it was, but it's something to do with me watching stuff that I can't deal with. Climbing up high
exactly,
places, I can't deal with that.
exactly.
And I can't remember what the other point was. But yeah, I mean, the Olympic breakdancing thing, wild. And the Olympics being in LA, I mean, I just don't get that. I just don't get that. That's
It's
scary.
weird. It's
No,
weird.
no. The breakdancing thing was weird. This is got so many underlying like connotations and like dark stuff. It's crazy. It's crazy. Yeah.
I think it is more than crazy. But yeah, no, there is a lot of thing going on in the Diddy sphere and all those documentary. I actually
Mm.
do believe that him wanting to start talking so much BS about Cassie is because he's trying to go after the documentary, like remove the credibility of it.
I honestly
Mhm.
just have every single person that was still on this earth in that documentary who was mentioned. Like I
Mhm.
just wish nothing but like safety for them.
Mm.
Like when you do a little bit of looking into how quickly a substance can be transferred from a piece of paper or from under your car door, like
Mhm.
if you've got one of those car doors or behind your doorknobs, there's so many things that you don't even realize you do that can leave you open to these things. And it's but you know what's interesting? I feel like the more people you surround yourself with in a home, the harder it is to pull off these techniques because you can't guarantee who's going to open a door. You see what I'm saying? Whereas if you're
Exactly.
by yourself, it's a lot easier to target you with that sort of a nasty way to go, if that makes sense.
I have a question for you, Ron.
Yes.
And the title you put JJ's. What is JJ?
Oh, so I'll show you right now. So we have to come up for another way of saying this. I'm going to put it in the private chat. So
Okay.
it's another one of our terminology. So that's what a GG is.
Oh, Murph talked to me a little about that.
Yeah. So we're going to
Mm.
move on to what is something that is a major problem, which is the GGs. Okay. So if you don't know what GGs are, the last word is gang, right? And the first word rhymes with vrooming. Okay. Vrooming. Okay. So they're
Vroom,
G.
vroom.
Yeah. So I'm going to just show you some stuff here, right? Because it ties in with what I was talking about last week about how individuals, we always talk about keeping our kids safe, right? We always talk about keeping our kids safe,
No.
but we never really talk about keeping the parents safe, right? Because I could tell you countless stories about parents who were picked out by a PDF file and they got into a relationship with the parents just to have access.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And this is a common tool. All right. Now, I want to just show you something. Now, I need to edit some of these words. So I'm going to read it off the screen.
Hmm.
The G, or that particular group, was described as incredibly skilled at
Hmm.
G'ing families even striking up relationships with pregnant women to abuse their babies. Okay? Now,
Oh my God, people are crazy.
I've noticed something within a lot of the people that I've met recently through YouTube, that I feel like we're back at a point where people are surprised and they've not really fully understood the level of problem that is going on here. There are subcategories of these people. There is the most common one, okay, is where one of these people believes that relationships with you know who I'm talking about, as long as they're consensual, there's no harm, right? And there's a word for them. And these people are the ones we usually hear about. Okay, these are the
Mm-hmm.
ones who believe that these younger people should have a choice, right? It's mad, right? I'm telling you now, there are individuals out there that it is so beyond dark and so beyond anything that you could comprehend, that when I was silenced, okay, and had years of work removed, it destroys your soul. It breaks you, and it's like, well, where do we go from here? And it's taken 4.5 years of where do we go from here to get to where we are now. And you know, things are going back to how they were for me, because partially, because you all need to know. You all need to be able to prepare yourself to tell your friends, your family, your fellow parents, your people that you go on the school run with, you know, that single mum, right, that spends too much time swiping, looking for that connection, who could leave herself open. It's about unifying your community. It's about standing up for each other. It's not about just your kids. It's about your neighbors' kids. Okay. And, you know, different families, different ethnicities, different cultures. It's not about that. It's about you should know your neighbors' kids should know you. Everyone should be united. You can sniff them out. You can sniff them out in a community. But if you're not united, okay, then we're just going to fall. We're just going to fall. And pay attention to the families in your area. Pay attention to community. It has been slowly removed from the UK over the years systematically. Division is more important to them than unity. Don't believe everything you hear, okay? Especially in the UK. Division creates a much more controllable population. As long as we're all fighting each other, we're not fighting them. And there's things that I need to make sure all of you understand. And there's things now in this day and age that we can be doing united together. And you need to see, if you're a parent, you need to see all the other parents, okay, in a different light. Okay, there's going to be those parents that are like you and me, that love their kids and that are awesome. But sadly, there's going to be those other parents where questions are raised. And you're going to find these things a lot easier to deal with if you're united together as a group, as families, as single moms, single dads, united as normal two-parent families, same-sex marriages, whatever. You all have to be united. Because there is some madness coming. Normalization is hitting us in ways we've never seen before. And God damn, did the world dodge a bullet last year during a certain election. And I just can't stand anymore. I just can't I just can't not do anything about this anymore again. So the GGs, the dark side of humanity. I've spent
exactly.
close to a decade observing what human beings will do in places where they think no one is looking. You don't know anyone. And I'm sorry. You might think you know your family, your friends, your neighbors. No one will ever truly know anyone. But you have to have that unity. And like I say, you'll be able to start sniffing out the wrong ones. But you have to take the attitude that the only person that you know and that can trust fully is yourself. Because I've seen what people will do when they think no one is looking and they can get away with it. And the human condition is incredible. And it's displayed very playfully within the whimsical mind of a child, right? The whole kid getting caught in the kitchen with his hand in the cookie jar, right? Right? No one's around, no one's looking. If no one sees me, it doesn't happen, right? And that's a 5-year-old.
Exactly.
And that's a 5-year-old. So now imagine a twisted individual reaching into that metaphorical cookie jar where no one can see what they are doing. It's wild. It's wild. And when you make the 5-year-old comparison, right, it makes sense, right? Because it's installed in us for some reason. And don't get me wrong. I mean, we can say the same thing that's what leads to whistleblowers and people talking out about the truth. It's not all negative. It's just completely apparent that we are pre-programmed to be who we want to be when no one else is around. Yeah, I will say arise. I don't really think I can say parents are a disgrace now, okay? Because I completely understand what you're saying, though, right? I think there's a lot of social things that go against people. Like, I really do. I see a bigger picture now with the problems of parenting. Because, arise, let's say you have kids and you've had a perfect upbringing and you choose to be a terrible, or you just hate your kids or whatever, and you do a terrible job. You're going to have other people who have nothing that would do a great job. Do you see what I'm saying? So there's not one clear thing across the board, but what I 100% see is a failure of a generational failing, right? I feel like the majority of what I see as open inverted commas, terrible parenting stems from terrible parenting. You know, I'm not talking about struggling. I'm not talking about struggling. I'm not talking about doing your damn best, right? And you're struggling. I'm not talking about that. You know, I'm talking about parents who leave their 3 kids locked in a room upstairs, you know, without food all day while they're sleeping downstairs on the couch and not doing things. We're talking about atrocities. People can try their best, man. That's all people are asked to do, is do your best for your kids. That's it. You know? And put a 1 in the side chat if you feel like your parents made it look easy. Because I'm telling you right now, my upbringing was awesome, right? I had an awesome upbringing. Single mom, worked her fingers to the bone, highly successful in her field, and you know, made sure she literally had about £10 a week to herself. That was it. And raised her 2 boys and gave us nice places to live and all of that. And my mom kicked ass. So big shout out to mom. So I was lucky. Super lucky. But man, she made it look easy. She made it look easy. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I made it look easy.
Wow.
So big shout out to moms.
Yeah, I come from a single parent household too for the first 15 years of my life, but it didn't seem easy in my opinion, because you know, when you actually have the father there, you see the difference.
How old are you, man?
I am 34.
So we're 10 years apart. So it's probably that as well. because the
Mhm.
freaking 80s were just different. I think the 80s to me, it
Mm.
was like if my mum was doing, if I was your age and my memories of the 80s were the 90s, I think, I mean, I was a teenager in the 90s, you know what I mean? And my mum was still smashing it. But you got to
Mhm.
understand, my mum this was still in the era, Maggie, of like shop front windows, right? Where window dressers were king, right? And my mum was a fashion show coordinator and all this kind of stuff. And she done huge charity events. And she was like, she would win the competition every year for like best dressed windows and stuff like this. It was back in the there was no online shopping era. She was the top dog, right? So she was really good at her job. And yes, there is multiple examples of me as a child in fashion shows dressed up in horrendous things because my mother was in charge of them. Yes. And these are tapes that exist, and one day they will be put on the internet. But I'm thankful because my mom could have been a selfish mom. She could have been super selfish, but she wasn't. She was all about our kids, and uh, it sucks when I see some forms of modern parenting. When I see like amazing little kids,
Mm.
and you can almost see their whole future play out just because of one interaction that they've had with their parents when you're picking them up from school or nursery or whatever. Uh, and yeah, some people are just not equipped for it. You know what I mean?
Oh my God, yes.
I love it. Like it's awesome being a
Yeah,
parent.
being a parent is the hardest job in the world, but if you want to do it, it's beautiful. If you have the little single like, I want to, it's horrible for
Do
the
you know what I
kid.
want to do? Do you know what I always wanted to do if I was a billionaire, right? Is
Mhm.
like have like get enough of my little guys, right? To then have a whole bunch of like you know how you get like like you take the egg and the sperm and you put it in a dish and you just like make a little person, right? Like the whole
Mm.
artificial insemination, right? So here's my mad billionaire plan, right? I get one little baby from every country with my DNA, right? I raise them all, right? I raise them all, okay, and then do like a Hunger Games style game to define which one is the best of them all, right? Which nation is the best one, right? From battle of the genes, they've all got the same genetics, and we find out which one is prevails. That is why I'm glad I have no powers or money in the world. That is the sort of stupid crap I would do.
That
I'm
is
just
the
saying.
Squid Game of your life. That is what your
I feel
Squid
like
Game
it
would
would
look
make
like.
I feel like it would make a really good, like weird sci-fi novel, right? Like I think it would make a good novel. I think the movie would be a bit rubbish, but I'm just saying
I
it'd
just
be
love Sunset. Okay, Alan. I'm like, I agree. Okay,
yeah.
Alan.
It's just one of Ron's weird intrusive thoughts. Do you know what I'm saying? Like
Yes.
it really is. Like if you had one child from every nation and then they all battled it out, which one would win? Do you know what I mean? It fascinates me. Fascinates me. This is people like me who have jobs in science are the reason why diseases are still a thing because we daydream like this and do stupid experiments. That's all I'm saying. Okay.
Oh my God, Alan, come, go back, go away.
Oh no, Alan's been some. There's a reason. There's a reason why we're just full on red now, right? Like
Mhm,
this is a metaphor
mhm.
for inner feelings. So fun, high contrast. Red Ron is here for a while. So yeah, it's the information that's important. Do you know what I'm saying? It's the information that's coming your way, guys, and I'm excited. But give me another like and another share. We're coming to sort of the wrapping up period. Oh, hang on a second. I've got a phone call here. And 1 second. Samson, you lovely gentleman. I'm currently just finishing off a live stream. I'll be free in about 15 minutes. Could you call me back? Make sure you call me back though, mate. Right, brilliant. Love it. Peace. That was the wonderful Samson Kruppen. Uh,
Oh, yeah.
legend. So the GGs, they're prevalent. The darkness of this topic, people need to be educated on. You need to be educated on what to look out for, individuals, and it has to be done in a way that is YouTube algorithmically friendly. Next week, the Discord is going to reopen, and you guys are going to have an opportunity to come and be part of the community. And once the community hits a certain amount of active members, I'm going to be doing after shows which are going to be a test pilot for a Discord-based live show, right? Which is just for the community, fully unfiltered. And then there's a few other things that are in the pipe works as well, because entertainment is the other side of things for me. If I'm going to be delivering all this soul destroying stuff, I need to balance it out with decompressing and laughter and unity and community.
Let's talk about the GGs, and now let's talk about the Teletubbies, just to remove the mood.
Well, no, it's Friendly Fire's coming back, and Samson and we're just about to put the finishing touches on it all. So yeah, but look, I need all of your help as a community to help us through January, push us through, do likes and shares. I'm going to be doing a minimum of 2 shows a day now, right up until the middle of February. So deal with it. Okay, there'll be the daily show, then there'll be an hour show before whatever main show, and then there'll probably be, if there's no main show, there'll be something else in the evening. But I don't want to saturate it with just all the same stuff. So
Yeah.
But listen,
There's too many things going on in this world right now. People are crazy.
Listen, there is so much that I am thankful for the mental abilities of our community, because people with a lower ability to think for themselves, they're falling at the wayside right now. The pits beneath my massive pedestal are getting very full of reprobates, rats, and snakes. And
Only people who make mistake.
Oh man. Listen,
you know what we're thinking about.
Yeah. Wow. Flipping Homer. I mean, it's just I will be daydreaming over the level of absolute madness. Because like I say, man, I've done some pretty hardcore things in my life, and never once have I been that guy. So well, hey, listen, at least we kind of all settled on the same narrative.
Exactly.
But I mean, do you know
we
what?
all agree, but humans are human.
No, we're not even. Nah, I'm not ready to be all like, let's talk about positive whatever, right? honestly, I feel like it would have been better if it was if we discovered some raging like hidden clan member or something like that. That would have been like at least something to come from this. But when it's stupidity and it's just damage and hurt and moronic action, it's like the guy who has 12 beers and drives home and plows into a nursery. It's that level of madness to me.
Exactly.
You know,
something that could have been easily not happen, and the person is not a demon, but why the fuck?
What I talk about the wildest part is he just did it to himself. He just took the hand grenade out, pulled out the pin, and just stood there looking at it until it blew up in his face.
Yeah, basically.
I mean,
it was like, oh, nice fire, nice.
Wild. But luckily, and I mean luckily, like, people have brains, because
yes,
if he'd just been a lone guy on the internet, like without a community or anything behind him, his life would be so different right now. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, if that was just some random dude, you know what I mean? Anyway, you're fabulous. The side chat is fabulous. The mods are fabulous. The Sean Atwood channel, fabulous. And
yes, and we all love each other. We are pro each other, by the way.
Yeah, definitely. I'm definitely pro each other. Like, that's 100%, right? Like, Maggie and I have been pretty good pals, right? On and off
for months.
And it's kind of like there's just a lot of stuff, right? And Maggie and I do like a lot of like just sitting eating metaphorical popcorn, messaging each other, going, what is going on? like what is going on?
It's like every day we're just like, the fuck?
Right? It's it's like it's just been mad. 2025, mate.
Mm-hmm.
Outdoing yourself so far. What are we? 16 days in, and
That's so true.
16 days in, and we've had all sorts, mate.
Mhm,
It's just one thing
mhm.
after another. So that's why I'm sort of at the stage where I'm just like, do you know what? I'm okay. I'm okay trying to put together a show myself. There's people that I like working with, the Daily Show with Maggie, all this kind of stuff. But like, there's a lot of third parties that have frustrated me a little bit, if I'm being honest.
With
So,
good reason.
well, yeah, I mean, there's other stuff as well that I've not talked about, other bits and bobs.
Exactly, exactly. Mm-hmm.
I just want to get my information across. I've got a new
Mm-hmm.
team in the background. We're ready to, start doing some brute forcing on some websites. And I think the way it's going to be done is obviously it's all digital based as well. We're not going out into the real world. We're not going to be showing any footage of people being caught or anything like that. It's all digital realm
Mm.
stuff. But I'll be honest with you, YouTube, the stuff that I'm going to show you that I found on YouTube, and a big shout out to Morgs, is we're going to enter into a realm of PDF file that I did a documentary about. I spent a year and a half researching this, then lost my mind completely. And this is what it feeds into, and this is the very sad world. I can't even mention the words, can't even talk about the words, anything like that. But once we get started, there will be a reference page on the website where you can get all the abbreviations and no context and things like this. Because I'm not one of those guys that you see that go out into the real world or anything like that. It's
Mhm.
all been online, my work. And it's a dark world. So thank you all for being here. Thank you for being awesome. Maggie, thank you for being here, and thank you for being awesome as well. Thank you to the mods. Thank you to the community. All of you are fabulous. You do me so proud in the side chat, your support, all of that stuff. Please like and share. Please come and join us at half past. Is it 8 or 8:30? I can't remember. Where I'm going to be diving.
I think 8.
I think it probably is 8.
Yeah.
Diving into the world of Diddy's mother create
Yeah.
him. Maggie, you're welcome to join me, of course. I don't know if you're busy. I know you've got about 97 live streams to do in a day. Honestly,
No, I do want to talk also about the mother, because that mother
you
is
need
mothering.
when you're streaming
Mhm.
like this, you need to remind people to like and share your streams. You'll get a 10% return usually. If you've got 200 people and 20 of them haven't subscribed, you should get a little boost. You've got to keep that format as my one bit of thing. I never see you do it, right? So you just need to be like, guys, even just set a wee thing on your phone every 40 minutes. Every 40 minutes, you got to remind people, like, subscribe.
I will try, but I feel it's so embarrassing. But at the same time, why don't you like people?
Yeah, no, like I'm not. You've heard the way I talk to the side chat. Like I'll berate them. Do you know what I'm saying? I will sit here and read.
Exactly.
I'll sit here and read from a book if I have to. If you're not going to push the like button and subscribe, I'm just going to read from the dictionary, and then we can both be complete bell ends. All right, freaking grown adults, not pushing the like button. It's free. Like half of the people that don't subscribe that's free will be running to a Starbucks to get $2 off a $12 coffee and be happy, think they've got a bargain. It's free. Like, push the button. I'm
Please.
looking at you. I'm looking at all of you. And some of you are like, oh, I'm subscribed. Have you liked? Because the maths ain't adding up. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
You're making me talk to you like a child, side chat, just so you know. Collectively, you need to do better on the likes and the sharing. Like, I'm not even joking. Like, what are you doing? Like, sort it out. All right, love you guys. We'll see you at 8:30 or 8 o'clock. Just turn up at 8. Just be there at 8. That's the best way of doing it. Right, peace. Love
Or
you guys.
just
Peace.